Welcome back to another reading and correcting of The Used Child with me, Kindar, the Tiger Writes, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. And today we are doing chapter 48. There was pain. Lying still filled Alex with it. He needed to move, assess the situation he was in, but when he tried, the pain spiked and he cursed. He forced his eyes open, and even that hurt. He was looking at a metal ceiling. What happened here? Okay, there we go. There was motion in the corner of his eye, and he gritted his teeth through the pain as he forced a hand to his chest. Take a knife out of the harness. His harness wasn't there. Emil came next to the bed. Tristan said to take these when you woke up. He had 2 pills in a hand and a bottle of water. With more effort than it should have taken, Alex managed to get himself seated, fighting back more curses. Sorry for the bad words. Emil shrugged and offered him the pills. Alex took the pills and swallowed them with long gulps of water. He needed to carry painkillers in injectors. Those worked instantaneously. But he'd had bad luck with them, finding the vial broken when he needed them. Even crushed pills still worked. He just had to have the patience to let them kick in. How long was I out? Alex asked, noticing Emil had backed away from him. 3 days. Tristan tried to put you in the medical bed, but it got broken in the landing. He said you'd be okay without it. Alex nodded. He was down to shorts and a shirt, his body covered in sealed cuts and a few burns. Light was a blur, as they always were when he reached that state, and he was happy for that. He remembered it in his dream. He remembered how much fun he had had killing all those people. He shuddered. He wasn't looking forward to the coming nights. I helped patch you up. Emil's smile was tentative. Thank you. Alex tried to smile back, but his face hurt too. He touched it. No cuts there, but soreness in places. Punches. Not Tristan. He looked at his hand in originative cast. He'd crushed his hand. He'd crushed his hand. And then he tended to his wounds. Had Emil been there while Tristan undressed him? Probably. The Somalian didn't care for the niceties of not exposing a child to nudity. He probably made it a course on human anatomy. He shivered and couldn't tell if it was because he was cold or because of the memories seeping through. He looked for something to wear. His jacket and packs were on a chair. He got up and almost fell down. The painkillers hadn't taken effect yet. Emil moved to him and quickly away. Alex caught the flash of fear in his eyes. What had Tristan told him for him to be afraid? Emil looked away. I saw you fight. You were scary. Alex sighed, and here he'd been afraid Tristan would be the one to traumatize him. I'm sorry. I don't like reaching that point. How's Tristan? He's okay. I helped with his wound too. The guy who attacked him got in a few good cuts, but he won't hurt anyone anymore. Emil took the pack and brought it to Alex, then stepped away. I didn't... Wait. Who attacked him? Took pants and socks from the pack. Don't you remember? It's when he helped you. He sent me here because he didn't want me to see any more violence. He told me what happened when he carried you in. Alex focused on getting dressed. Why had Tristan hidden the fact Alex had been the one to attack him? Why continue the charade that they were partner? The job was done, wasn't it? Tristan had said he'd kill him. With his pants on, Alex looked for the earpiece and found it in one of the pack's pocket. He put it in his pants pocket. Maybe it happened while you were unconscious? Alex forced a smile and changed his shirt. Must have been. I'm sorry I scared you. I try not to lose control like that, but sometimes... I know you won't hurt me, Emil said nervously. It's just that there was a lot of people. I've never seen anyone fight so many people, not even in the vids. They didn't let me watch vids with too much violence in them at the academy. Alex nodded and watched Emil. You're right. I won't hurt you. I won't let anyone hurt you. Not even Tristan. Emil had gone through enough. He'd been betrayed by his own father. He'd seen more violence than any child should. What he deserved now was a normal life, a long one. Alex was going to see to it Emil got that. He wished it would be as easy as fighting Tristan for him, but now he knew he couldn't best the Somalian in a fight. No one had ever won a fight against Alex when he was lost in it, until now. Ziffer had told him, a long time ago, that whoever wanted to live the most would win the fight. Tristan has shown he was the one who wanted it most. When he'd mentioned that the universe wanted him dead, Alex thought he was just being figurative. Plenty of people accused the universe of wanting them dead. Now? Now he wasn't sure. Someone needed to be extremely determined to win against Alex in such a fight. Emil eyed him strangely. Alex shook his head and immediately regretted it. The pain wasn't strong, but it still took a few seconds for everything to settle in place. Sorry. Got lost in my head. Where are we? In space. As soon as he put you in bed, we took off. I tried to help, but I don't know anything about flying a ship. We stayed close to the ground for a while, and he told me to keep looking at a bunch of dots on the screen to tell him if they followed us. They didn't follow us. After a while, we went up, and then he stopped the ship. But that's when he let me help patch you up. That's when he let me help patch him up. We looked after you next. So we're space worthy. That's good. It made sense. Tristan would have seen to that first. He went into space a few times since. He said we're not ready for a long journey yet. Alex nodded. He got off the bed and stretched. The pain was there, but it was muffled behind the wall of cotton. I think it's time I give you back your room. You mind staying in it for a while? I need to talk with Tristan. He headed for the door without waiting for an answer. He could lock it if it came to it. You're angry with each other, aren't you? Alex froze. He turned. What do you mean? Tristan is better at hiding it than you, but I saw it while we were covering your wounds. You've been angry with him longer, almost as long as I've been here. Alex just stared. That Emil had picked up on the tension baffled him. He'd never been that observant, even as a kid. He'd been never observant when he was a kid. Finally, he sighed. We have problems. Emil wrapped his arms around him and seemed to shrink in. Because of me? Alex went to him and crouched, ignoring his body's protest. He hugged him. No, Emil, not because of you. Our problems predate you meeting us. They're mostly my fault. I forced this partnership on. He shook his head and regretted it again. It's complicated, but we're working through it. Tristan had killed him in his sleep, so that had to mean something, right? Emil brightened and he hugged Alice back. I hope you fix it. I like you both. Alex held on to him, finding he needed the comfort of the hug. Emil wouldn't die, he promised himself. He would find a way to convince Tristan. There had to be a way, something he could say. He let Emil go. So, you're going to stay in the room? Emil nodded. It shouldn't take long. Hopefully, if this went sideways, Tristan would kill Alex first so we wouldn't have to see what happened next. But he didn't think he'd be that lucky. Take your time. Emil took his data pad from the desk. I have plenty of reading material. Alex watched him climb on the bed and cross his leg. Emil began reading. The craziest thought crossed his mind. Why not keep him? He was smart, observant, worked hard, loved Tristan. Maybe you could convince the Somalian too. To what? Convince Tristan to keep a mask on for his entire life? As good as he was, he couldn't do that. And Tristan didn't actually like Emil. It had just been a ruse so he could accomplish a goal. Alex left the room, trying to come up with an argument that would save Emil's life. He closed the door and leaned back against it. Tristan had his back to him, working inside the wall. Tristan turned and wiped his hand on a dirty rag. He leaned against the wall and watched Alex with his cold eyes. He waited. He had to know what was coming. Alex wasn't going to grovel. He promised himself that. He was entitled to some respect, wasn't he? Tristan had won the fight, but Alex had injured him, not simply a cut here and there. He'd actually hurt the Somalian. I told Emil to stay in the room. He's reading. Unless you yell at me, he shouldn't hear us. The smile Tristan gave him wasn't pleasant. Yeah. If someone was going to scream, it wouldn't be him. Be Alex. Pain. This doesn't have to be worse than talking, Alex said, gritting his teeth. He tried to convince himself of that. He was already dead. He knew that. If he saved Emil's life, it would happen the instant he was off the ship. Tristan nodded and took a few steps that had him stand in front of Alex. First thing, he extended his hand. Give me your earpiece. Alex covered the pocket with a hand. I can't. I need. Don't make me take it, Alex, Tristan said. His tone more sad than angry. You can imagine what else I'll do if I have to. Alex took it out. His hand closed over it. Why didn't you take it while I was unconscious? You're the one who put it in my pack. Because if I had taken it then, I would have stolen it from you. You'd have been angry at the injustice. He nodded to his open hand. Now, you are the one handing it over to me. You are the one who has to decide what kind of punishment you want. His gaze softened. Alex, did you really think I wouldn't notice what you did? Did you think I wouldn't go and look? Especially after you made that comment about having my computer commit suicide? I wouldn't have. Tristan's voice dropped all caring. Tristan's voice dropped. Wait, what? Deeper. Low. Yeah. All caring was. Tristan's voice lowered. All caring was gone from it. You gave yourself administrative access that superseded mine. You could have locked me out of my own computer. You could have told it to die. Now, decide what your punishment is going to be and remember that the boy is behind that door. He will hear you scream. Sorry. I explained it. I needed. I didn't do it to take the computer away from you. I was angry and I needed to exert control over something. Computers are my thing. I swear I would never have. Tristan leaned forward and growled. With a shaking hand, he placed the earpiece in his hand and looked at me. I've killed people for a lesser thing than trying to usurp control of my computer. How come you didn't try to take control of the computer in my workshop? I was angry then, and it's just a souped up house computer. I can't do all that much. Alex indicated the space around them. The computer here controls our lives. Controlling that has saved my life more often than I care to remember. Tristan studied him. I can understand the need to have an edge over others, Alex. I respect that. But if you ever do this to one of my computer again, you will die. No warning, no chance to fight back or explain. I will simply snap that fragile neck of yours. Is that clear enough for you? Alex nodded and looked at Tristan's closed fist. You're not getting it back. I don't trust you. I understand. What did Alex expect him to do without it? Maybe he'd just hand it over when he needed him to do something? Good. Second thing. I never want to see you hold back when we fight. Fight? He lowered his voice. You said you were going to kill me. I said I'd make my decision based on the rest of the job. He opened his fist. This did place you staying alive in question for a moment, but it was also instrumental in the job reaching its conclusion. So no, Alex, I'm not going to kill you. We're going to continue as things are, except that you will not hold back. Don't. You are a killer, Alex. I want that man when I train, not a shadow of him. I don't. He closed his mouth and looked over his shoulder at the door. I told you, that isn't who I want to be. I don't care what you want, Alex. You stayed. You chose to be mine. I'm going to use you as I see fit. I'm not going to have you die in the middle of a fight because you're afraid you might kill someone. I don't know if I can do that on command. I need to be pushed pretty far to reach that state. Tristan grinned. Don't worry. I'm going to push you as far as your breaking point. I'm going to push you far past your breaking point. Alex stared in dismay, and Tristan's smile broadened. Now, go sit down and give me a rundown of what the information we spread caused. Alex eyed the fist, but Tristan didn't offer the earpiece back. He didn't need it for this task. This was just information gathering. Tristan wanted would be in the public nodes. Still, liked having the sound of the net while he worked, and he'd never worked death before. He worked slowly, feeling unsure of what he was doing, but Tristan didn't push him. SpaceGov opened an investigation into Thomas Masters for inappropriate use of government funds and resources. Been removed from his position, and there's a bounty on his head. It isn't much. They just want him back to put him on trial. And chuckled. They're going to have to raise it if they want him alive. There's a dozen bounty on the boards put up by various merc teams, and all they're interested in is getting his head. Searching. Any asset linked to Masters or his allies, aliases have been confiscated. If he made it off planet, that ship is about the only thing he owns, although technically he's stolen it now. He made it off. Tristan brought up the rundown from the passive scan. Alex remembered watching all the mercs ship head off to chase someone. Tristan indicated the engine trail. That's him, taking off while we were fighting the mercs groundside. He might have come in quietly, but he left as hard and as loudly as he could. I doubt any of his soldiers had the override code to that ship. Those are some powerful engine. Unless one of the merc ship was close enough to damage it, it's going to outrun all of them. Yes. Alex eyed Tristan. He actually sounded pleased that Masters had gotten away. Don't you want him dead? He's going to die, eventually. If not in the merc's hand, I'll see to it myself. But I want him to suffer first. I want him to feel what it's like to be hunted to the edge of the universe. I want him to have to look over his shoulder until he misses something. Someone plants a knife in his back. Alex thought back on Alex and Tristan's file. He'd read them so often, he knew them by heart, and even back then he'd noticed a pattern that only now made sense. Retribution, Alex whispered. If someone comes after me, I go after them in kind. Tristan fixed his gaze on Alex's reflection. The death I cause are necessary. Alex didn't believe that, but he wasn't going to argue. Why did you come after Luminex? I never found out about that one. The men who ran the company arranged for me to be caught and imprisoned. I was there for 10 years before I escaped. The Sayatoga. The files claimed that's where you were while you attacked Luminex. They don't like advertising when a prisoner escapes. So why did you leave the company standing? Normally, you would have destroyed the building at least. That was my plan, but I found out the company had been stolen from the previous owner. I figured returning it to him would be more painful to the man I was after than just destroying it. Emeril, that's who the company was stolen from? Explain why you took an interest in me. Tristan raised an eyebrow, but Alex didn't feel like elaborating. I'm guessing you found a way to have the Saratoga think they'd got you back because they never took you off their manifest. A malicious program to rewrite my file to match that of the man the bounty hunter the Saratoga paid to bring me back returned in my stead. And since the Saratoga keeps their prisoner in cryo, he can't explain how this is one huge mistake. Of which, how is the bounty on the Somalian who dared kidnap a child? It's gone. SpaceGov removed it at the start of the investigation. You are no longer a small planet. You are no longer worth a small planet to an enterprising merc who manages to capture you. Tristan snorted at the implication that could ever happen. They had no choice. The Mark used SpaceGov fund to cover the bounty. If they'd left it standing, it would have implicated them in the scheme. SpaceGov hates being linked to a failed operation. You'd think SpaceGov would want mercs removed, considering the amount of money they're spending trying to control us. They don't like us, but they need us. Dig deep enough, and you'll find the majority of the jobs on the merc boards come from two places, corporations and SpaceGov. And more from SpaceGov. More come from SpaceGov. Tristan headed toward the ramp, opening the locker before it and pulling out an EVA suit. All in all, you did a good job, Alex. I'm heading outside to work on the hull. In a few days, we should be good to leave this place and take care of the last piece of this job. Alex watched him put it on, too stunned to think. When he had it on, Tristan went down the hold and closed that hatch. Alone, he thought it over. The last piece. He could only mean a mill. He looked at the... Alex had planned on trying to convince Tristan not to kill a mill, but gotten sidetracked with the mission wrap-up and finding out he was going to live, which meant that if he didn't want to watch Emil die, he needed to come up with something. At least this gave him time to think about it. because he promised Emil he would protect him. And he intended doing just that, no matter the cost. And this concludes chapter 48 of The Used Child. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to know when the next chapter is going to be up, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read the book as well as the others in the series, they are available on all major e-retailers. If you want to support me, that's on my Patreon, where you can also get access to basically everything I've written. And if you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. The links are in the notes, and with that, I'll wish you a good day.